Good afternoon and welcome to the first virtual managers town hall meeting that's being broadcast over YouTube. We appreciate you taking the time to join us on this, and we hope that this helps you to understand the true message that we're trying to promote here. As always, we appreciate your feedback and we want to hear your comments about how this works or doesn't work for you, and if you have suggestions on how to make it better. With that, let's get started. First off, you'll notice that it says May and June agenda, and that's because I had originally planned to have this out in May, and the technology threw a couple of hurdles at me, and it took a little bit longer than I had previously expected. So we're going to call this the May and June Virtual Town Hall. First thing we're going to cover is a little bit about what we're doing here. What is this new delivery medium, and how is this working today, and how will it work in the future? We're going to go over some of the projects we're doing in the summer, at least in the first half of the summer, and I'll give you a little insight into what we'll be doing in the second half of the summer. I have some pictures that I want to take you through of what the resort looks like in the summer. I know a lot of you have not been here in the summer, and I think it's a beautiful place and something that you should really understand and appreciate. I also want people to understand that we don't close down in the summer. We continue to do things and have fun. The crowds are smaller. The participation is less, but it's still a lot of fun. So we'll show you a little bit about that. I'm going to give you some quick activities updates just to make sure that everybody's aware of what's available and kind of a schedule of when we're going to go public with these things so that nobody misses an opportunity to get a ticket that they really wanted. And then we'll close out with question and answer, but the questions have to come via email and the answers will be responses to those. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. First off, this new delivery medium. So let me set the stage for you. I'm in my office, doors closed so that I don't get interrupted. I have a headset on. This PowerPoint presentation is on my computer screen, and I'm going through the slides, presenting it just like I would if you were in the ballroom at one of my meetings. This particular iteration is being done as voice and PowerPoint only. In the future, my goal is to take this to where we can actually do it live. And what that means is the recording will not only record me, it will also record the audience participation, the questions that are asked, where the audience directs me as we go through it. Much more interactive, and I think it'll be pretty interesting. You might say, why would we want to do that? Well, there's a lot of people that aren't here for all of the meetings. There's other people that have activities that are going on at the same time, and they can't make the meeting. I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to hear the messages. I don't know if it shows or not, but a lot of work goes into these, and it's very important, and we try to bring forward news that you need to know, important information about the resort, and I want everybody to feel good about the amount of work that's being done here. So the third iteration of this will be not only having the audience, but also streaming it live. And those of you that are computer literate, that play around on YouTube or other internet media sources, probably understand that streaming is almost live. It's within 2 minutes of being real time. So people that aren't here would be able to log in and actually hear this meeting, see the slides, and do it virtually at the same time. Short of having donuts for them, it'll almost be the same experience. The way this will work is these will get posted out to YouTube. You will need to go to my YouTube channel, which is a business YouTube channel. It's not my personal one, so you won't find pictures of my pup there. But and we'll still continue to publish the slides via Victoria Voice, and also hard copies in the activities lobby for those that don't mess with computers. We're trying to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to get the message. So what you're going to have to do is, chances are you're actually seeing this for the first time in the Victoria's Voice, because I didn't have a way to pre-subscribe you, and truthfully didn't want to. So in the Victoria's Voice, you'll see this very slide, and it will say go to and provide the address. And what you're going to want to do is type that into your browser. When you get to that website, you'll see the ability to subscribe. You're going to want to subscribe, enter your information, because these will be private videos. They will not be available to non-subscribers. So you want to subscribe, and that's going to do a couple of things. Obviously, it will give you access, but it will also allow you to get notifications of when I post these. So in the future, you may not have to wait for the Victoria's Voice or something else to happen to know that I've posted the latest video up there. When we get to the point of doing them live in our live meetings this fall, you will actually get a pre-announcement telling you that there's an event that's going to take place and give you the time and the link to click on. And so let's say you're a little bit under the weather. You may be here in the wintertime, but you want to participate. You'll be able to click on that link. It'll take you to the live event, and when I start talking, within about 90 seconds, the video will kick off, and you'll be able to hear it and see the slides just like you if you were in the room. Now, I'm not proposing that I be on screen. I'm not that proud that I want you looking at me. That's not the important thing. What I have to say, I think, is fairly important, and what I put in the slides is important. That's what you're going to see. So with that, let's move on and see what else we've got here. Speaking of new, we've finally crossed into the 21st century for music. We had a lot of commentary about the music at the pool. I told you last fall, this spring, that we're putting a new sound system in at the pool, and that's still going forward. In fact, we expect installation to be any day now. It's going to take us into a completely different system. Right now we have 3 speakers that are hidden out there in flower pots, while one is up on the soffit. And only 2 of them work unless you wiggle the wires just right. They're in very, very bad shape. We're replacing that with 8 very high quality Yamaha speakers that will be dispersed around the perimeter of the pool area. And the idea of that is not to create more music. We don't need it louder or more intrusion focused. What we need is it more distributed so that we don't have to turn it up louder. The idea is that we want you to be able to hear that music without it being so loud that you can't talk over it. But you can't do that when you only have a couple of speakers and they're trying to cover the whole area. So 8 speakers. We'll have 0 oxygen wire, which is a very outdoor specific and a very high throughput cabling that we'll be using to do the installation on this. By the way, the company that we've contracted to do this is a professional company. If you're familiar with the musical entrepreneurs here in the area, this company is D-Tronics. You've probably heard their ads on the radio. We took bids from multiple companies, and they had not only the best solution but the best price. So that's coming. But now that we've gotten some better capabilities at the pool, we also wanted to have better music. We've migrated to a streaming service, and this has actually been up and running for about 3 weeks now. The feedback has been wonderful. And if you're familiar with things like this, streaming is, instead of music coming over the airwaves like it does to your car radio, it comes across the internet, and then we broadcast it out through our amplifiers and speakers. The key here is, in the old world, we had a CD changer that we used for music, and all that means is there were a whole flock of CDs in there, and they would play about 12 or 13 songs, and then move to the same CD or the next CD, and eventually that would go completely around and just start over again. Very limited. We had issues with CDs sticking and repeating themselves, kind of like an old record skipping. There was a lot of negativity around it, and people were tired of hearing the same thing over and over and over. Now we have a database of literally hundreds of thousands of songs, and we can select them by artist, by genre, by season, by you name it, and we can go in and do it. So we can do today's top country, and we can do classic rock and roll, and we can do mood music for an evening at the pool. There's just so much flexibility. On top of that, we have the ability to change that music on an automatic schedule. And so by that I mean we set up a 7-day schedule. And on that, it may say 7 a.m. on Monday, we want to kick it off with classic country. And at noon on Monday, we want it to change over to 50s rock and roll. And at 7 p.m. on Monday, we want it to roll to smooth jazz. It does all of this. It does whatever we tell it, and does it automatically so that we have a great deal of flexibility. As I mentioned, we've had it running for about 3 weeks in our current environment, and we've had nothing but positive comments. It's a very, very cool system. But that's still not all. One of the things that we get with this streaming service is the ability to insert messages. And so right now, the way we've got it running, every, I think, 30 minutes, a in between songs. It doesn't overwrite songs, but in between songs, it'll come on and say, "You're listening to Victoria Palms Radio." And you know, we're personalizing it. We're making it special for us. So when we have visitors here, they're going to think, "Wow, you have your own radio station here?" It's very, very cool. But take that a step further. You know, what if we have a pending issue? Let's say the city of Donna calls us and says they're going to turn off the water. Yes, we can put it on the marquee at the front entrance. We can put it on Channel 3. We could hang posters. We could put things everywhere. But you're in the pool. You're not going to see any of those things. And all of a sudden, you're going to come out of the pool and realize that you can't shower, you can't fix your hair, maybe you've got a dinner date or a dinner appointment, and you can't get ready for that because there's no water, and you had no way of knowing. Well, I can put an announcement into that audio stream, tell it how frequently I want it to play. Doesn't have to be big and obnoxious, but it could say, we've been notified by the city of Donna that the water will be turned off at 12 noon today and be off for at least 6 hours. We appreciate your understanding. That's all it takes. And you would hear that in the pool and say, "Oh, wow, I better go shower now, or I better go save some water," or whatever the case may be. So there's a great deal of benefit that we get from that. We also have the ability to remind you of the events that are going on. And again, we're not trying to turn this into a real radio station with a whole bunch of commercials. What we're trying to do is make sure everybody has a way to be aware. So minimal invasion within the music. For example, for Memorial Day, we put in a 13-second announcement that said, "Don't miss Victoria Palms kickoff to summer with our Memorial Day service and pool party starting at 1 p.m. on Monday." It's that simple, just to remind you, oh, that's right, we've got a thing coming up here. One more way that we can keep people notified of things. And I promise we won't abuse it. We're not going to turn this into more commercials than music. It will always be primarily music and minimal on the announcements and advertising. So that's what's happening at the pool, and we're pretty excited about it. But that's not all. We also went in and reconstructed our aging Channel 3. Those of you that know anything about it probably understand that the technology that we've been using is very old, very cryptic. In fact, there are some people in the resort who have volunteered at various times to help us with it, and they fully understand how cryptic it is and how hard it was to deal with. It's not user friendly. It takes multiple steps. Sometimes it can take 15 to 20 minutes to put one slide, just one little announcement up. There were so many ifs, ands, and buts that you had to cross. It was just a very hard system. And over the years, we've gotten just an enormous number of old content out there, and there's no real way to manage it. Even the current capabilities of Windows, where you can do searches and type things and stuff, don't work in this system. It was really, really difficult to work with. So we've contracted with a company that has a website, so out in the internet world, and we can connect to that from any computer. We don't need a special computer. We don't need some kind of special device to make this work. And we can upload a graphic for an announcement in a matter of seconds. The new format still has a scroll across the bottom. It still has the announcement in a separate window, pretty much like you saw before. But now we have real-time weather up at the top right, and we have a real-time clock on the screen. And you can see so much more from this. I'll take that even a step further and tell you that, we've always had music on Channel 3. Well, we're moving it to this streaming source that we talked about at the pool, which means that we can make announcements on that as well. So now let's change our track a little bit and say, here's how I use Channel 3 under this new way of looking at it. At home, I turn on the TV as background music. So rather than turn on the radio or pop in CDs or whatever, I turn on the TV. Well, that does a couple of things. First off, it's some pretty cool music. That part all works real well. If I happen to be watching the TV, I can see the announcements, but I don't have to be watching it. If I need to quickly know what time it is, I can just glance at the TV and there's a clock right there that tells me what time it is, and it's a real-time, really active clock. I can look at the temperature and a little bit about the upcoming forecast. I think that's really cool. But let's go back to that part where we said, the city of Donna is going to turn off the water. I put up that announcement. You could be in the kitchen, cooking dinner, doing dishes, and you're just kind of listening to the music, and all of a sudden you'd hear my voice or somebody else's voice come on and say, this is an important announcement. The city of Donna is going to turn off our water. You don't have to be staring at the screen. I understand that we end up with so many announcements up there that sometimes it takes almost an hour for it to get from the first announcement to the last. Well, this is a way that we can make the important things jump right to the front. Even the scroll across the bottom, for the first time ever, we can actually, in this tool, we can see the entire scroll and be able to edit things out, read it at a glance. It's so much easier. I think that you're really going to like it, and we've only begun to touch what we can do with it. There's a lot of exciting content and things that we can do with this medium that we could never do before. One little thing that I'll tell you is for Memorial Day, I can schedule on the video side of this, not the voice side, but the video side of Channel 3. I can tell it every 30 minutes I want you to play this video. So yes, everything's running like it normally would. The slides are going by, but on the hour it will run a video. And on Memorial Day, I ran a patriotic video about the men that have died to fight for our freedoms and things like that. And it was a very heartwarming. It was only about a 15-second video. It wasn't a long thing, but and I just misspoke on that. It's really about a minute long, and was something that we could do to make our channel 3 fit the current mood or mode. On Christmas we could be doing little Christmas videos, or there's just a myriad of things we can do. On the next slide, I have a small video clip that I took with my cell phone. This is an actual snapshot of what it looks like today. I hope this comes through for you. We're kind of double videoing here, so I hope that this all plays through on YouTube. Just know that in real life it's very clear, it's easy to read, the scroll is easy to read, and the music comes through with announcements. We think it's a very, very cool technology, and something that we hope that you'll really like. It makes Channel 3 more watchable and more usable, providing even more information. So that's been live for about 3 days now, so we're just now getting feedback. But at the Memorial Day event, we heard nothing but positive comments. People really like it. Now I want to take you through some of the projects that we've been doing or have started here in the resort over the summer. And the reason I want to take you through these things is because oftentimes you might not even notice them. There are things that we do around here that you just kind of know it looks better, but you don't know exactly what we did. So this first one was the guard shack. This is the first thing that a visitor or a contractor or a salesperson or whatever sees when they come to this resort. And it wasn't bad. It's made out of a very nice white stone and brick. And it's got that nice little awning over the front of it, but it just somehow didn't really reflect what we think our guard shack should look like. So the first thing we did is we chose a color palette, and we went with kind of a very light brownish beige and a darker brownish red trim color. So it's not truly the terracotta that we have in the rest of the resort, but we thought that two colors went much better. The trim color is much closer to the canopy color than it is to the terracotta that we've used other places in the resort. So we painted all of the exterior, the stone and brick, everything, and then we retrimmed everything and painted all of that the new trim color, and I think it really, really stands up now and looks much better than it did in the past. But we finished all of the paint work and we stood back and said, something's still not right. Well, it was all of the crummy, worn out old signs. We have these stop signs, and they were faded and chipped and stuff like that. So we replaced the signs, and on the rolling sign we also replaced the boulders that used to be sitting on the bottom of it to hold it from rolling around. We went out and found a nice concrete rectangular concrete piece that we now have on the bottom of it, and we put a new sign on that as well and painted it, and just really dressed things up. It was kind of the final touch almost. I then walked around it and I said, there should be some flowers or something here. So I was out shopping at Sam's Club, and I found these flower pots, and I brought them back, and I went to Claudia Gott, the leader of our landscape committee, and I said, I'd like to have these out by the guard shack. What could you do with them? Well, she went to the local landscape company and consulted with them, and they came up with this incredible array of flowers and greenery that are in these, and they're all very infant right now. They're going to get much bigger, but I think it will add this burst of color and I think kind of class right there at the front gate. The next step is we're going to do the inside to match, and I think you'll be very proud when you come in and see that gate. Another thing that we did, some of you probably know, and others probably have no idea, that we have an absolutely incredible array of lighting in the ballroom. The lights that are up over the stage are multifaceted, all tied together, have a very, very nice electronic controller that can run them. It can make them change colors, it can make them pulse, it can make them do all kinds of things. And the truth is, there's not many people here that knew how to do it, and so we haven't been using them. Well, I had made it a goal of mine that once it was summer and the events and things in the ballroom had backed off, I was going to go sit down and learn those lights. Well, they are absolutely incredible. In fact, I'll take that as far as to tell you that I was working with those lights, running them through some paces and things. And the music company, D-Tronics, was over here just finishing up the estimate, and he came in to give me the estimate on replacing the pool sound system, and he was absolutely amazed. He said that's as good as any dance club in McAllen, and we just don't use those, but we're going to start. Now, we're not intending to make this into some crazy disco or something like that, but there is a lot of capability that we have there. You also may have noticed, if you looked up, we have mirror balls on the ceiling, and they have little motors in them to make them spin, and pretty cool. And we have very old, very mundane lighting that shines on those mirror balls. Well, only one light out of, I think, 6 worked. And so I asked Jody to go in and take a look and see what we could do to get these going, and there's some problems. And so when I started looking at what it was going to take to replace them, I realized that technology has gone so far past what we had before. We literally had incandescent lights, and they were round bulbs that looked like the headlight off a motorcycle. If you can picture that, they're probably 6 or 7 inches across. The wires went on the back of them with screw terminals, just like an old scooter or motorcycle would have done. So for about the price of what I could buy those light bulbs for, I was able to buy LED mirror ball lights. These are projector lights that do multiple colors. They can do random colors, they can pulse, they even have a sound input. There's a built-in microphone, and if you set them that way, they will pulse to the music that is in the room. Incredible capabilities, very low cost, and I think will give us a lot more capabilities than we ever had in the past. We've also conquered our spotlight. Again, I don't know how many people knew, but we have a high-powered spotlight that's remote controlled so that you can aim it wherever you need it, that does all kinds of things. It is also LED and has the ability to do all kinds of patterns. It can do rotations. I can put stars all over the room. I can just put a spotlight on an entertainer, which is something, by the way, we've actually needed. If you've been to any of our concerts, it's not uncommon for the lead singer to step forward to the microphone and actually be kind of out of the light. Well, that's because this spotlight was intended to be that front lighting source, and we'll have that working. So I think you're going to see much more diverse lighting capabilities in the ballroom for our events this fall. We also, one of the things that I do in the summertime is I finally get enough time to get out of the office, and I walk around and I look at the trees and the shrubs and the landscaping and the outsides of buildings and the insides of buildings. And one of the things that really distressed me, it's not a place that I go very often, is the laundry rooms. And, for a resort, of the caliber of Victoria Palms. I just felt like we were completely missing the boat. We all know that we had new machines put in there under a service agreement type contract. They're very high tech. They're computer driven. They take credit cards. They're top of the line, even though they didn't work that well in the beginning. Well, that part of it's been fixed. The feedback that I've gotten since we had them in here repairing them has been really, really positive. They doubled the amount of water that goes in them now, and this took a software update to do that. They also replaced all of the agitators. Apparently, there was some type of a manufacturing defect that the agitator left too much room at the bottom of the tub. Not only could it get clothes stuck up under the agitator, but it didn't do its job of truly agitating because there was a lot of water below it. Long story short, we screamed and yelled until they found the right fixes, brought them in, and I've had very positive comments about the equipment now. So here we are with all of this brand new, very high-end washer and dryer equipment, and the rooms looked horrible. And so I said, what we need to do is we need to have a color palette that we work with. And I understand that we can't please everybody, and I get that completely. So not everybody will like what we did, but it's new, it's clean, it's fresh. What we decided upon was we liked the looks of the guard shack so much that we're using that as our color palette. And little by little, we're going to be migrating the insides of our buildings over to that. And to give it just a little bit of eye appeal, we did a stripe around the room. So it's that same tan and beige kind of color, and it's got a that reddish, burgundy-ish, brownish stripe around it. But we didn't stop there. We also redid the divider space that covers all of the mechanicals where the water hoses and electric and drains and all of that stuff goes. We recovered that and we dressed it up, and it's all done in a white Formica now. We covered the back sides of the machines. We fixed holes in the walls that were left from where the old machines were. We painted the ceilings, and we kept the ceilings white because we want these to be bright and fresh. And then we put in new high-intensity fluorescent lighting in the ceiling. It's an incredible difference. You really have to see it to appreciate it. We're also in the process of polishing the floor. We have some pretty high-quality floor tile. It's a vinyl floor tile that's on those floors. And the color goes all the way through it. Well, over the years, it's gotten pretty abused. And so what we're doing now is we're buffing it and polishing it out. And it brings all of that color back to the surface. It's going to look like a brand new floor. So we're pretty pleased with that. And truthfully, at the time that I did this, I didn't mention the large laundry because we were still working on the small laundry. But we've finished the small laundry. And now we've actually finished the large laundry too. So both of our laundry rooms are better than they've been in a very, very long time. This is one that will hopefully make people happy, maybe in some cases not. But one of the issues that we had over at the ballroom was contractors and entertainers and sometimes customers who rent the ballroom had this habit of opening the doors, propping them open so that they could move equipment and decorations and things like that in and out. Well, what that does is allows enormous amounts of humidity come into the room. Very bad for the air conditioners because that's primarily what they do is dehumidify that room, but it also allowed an enormous amount of dirt to come in, and we were clogging up the coils, clogging up the filters. We couldn't keep up with these things, and what happens is oftentimes the filter will start to get clogged, and then the unit will freeze up, and that can cause it to tank a compressor or destroy a fan motor, or a lot of things were happening. We put almost $60,000 into air conditioning work last season just in the ballroom, and it was time that it had to stop. We had to do something about it. So what we've done is we've installed emergency exit alarms on the back doors, not the glass doors. We understand that those are going to be there, but on the back doors, the ones that we want to keep closed. And basically, if you open those doors, this alarm goes off and it will wake you up, and it doesn't go off until somebody comes and turns it off with a key. Reason behind that is we don't want those doors randomly opened. We never want them propped open. And if somebody does it, you're going to get caught, because it doesn't matter if you close the door again. That alarm's going to keep going off until somebody gets it with a key. There's a limited number of keys. We know who has them. There's always a key available, either in activities or in catering. So there's no reason for it to, run amok, but people need to be aware. There are signs on all of the doors, and we hope that it will be a simplistic way of enforcing the need to keep those doors closed and help our air conditioning bills. So you'll see that when you get here in the fall. Another project that we had, and again, if you've never been here in the summer, you probably didn't know this happened. Our water volleyball is played in the small pool, the hotel pool. Well, in the summer, the hotel does a lot more business, transient business, than it does in the winter. In the winter, it's winter Texans primarily that fill up the hotel, and they come and use all of our regular facilities like anybody else. But in the summer, it's families. There's kids and all kinds of things, and we don't allow them into the resort facilities. Those are for the people that pay their rent here and live here as residents. It's not for the hotel people. So what that meant was, in the summertime, because the hotel had so many families and things like that, we couldn't do water volleyball. Well, we came up with the idea of moving the nets, the water volleyball net, over to the big pool. And it was actually a very simple project. We put it down in the end by the bathrooms. And it's real easy to put in and take out. We put sleeves in the pool deck just like we have over at the small pool. And now in the summertime, we're doing it on Sunday evenings. We have water volleyball, co-ed, everybody welcome in the pool. And if you can imagine, it's fairly warm here in the summertime, and this gives us an opportunity to do something that's just so fitting for summer. Get in the pool, get wet, play around, get a little exercise, and have fun. Now, I know what you're already thinking. What a mess this is going to be in season. Well, no, it's not. There is absolutely no projection of ever putting the water volleyball in the big pool in the winter. It will move back to the small pool, and it will stay in the small pool. It does take up a lot of room, and in the wintertime, when the pool's full most of the time, we can't take that much room away from the swimmers and the soakers and whatever else. So if you're a water volleyball fan, don't get your hopes up. It's not coming to the big pool in the winter. That's summer only. And if you're not a water volleyball fan, understand that we're not going to crowd you out of the big pool with this. It will go back to the small pool in the winter. But it's been a really, really cool thing in the summer. And I apologize that I have this canned picture. I just have not been over there with my camera to take a picture while the people were playing, so my apologies, but I didn't want to overlook it because I think it's a pretty cool thing. Another project that we had was we wanted to freshen the activities office. Many of you have come to me and said, the activities office it just has to be a show place. It has to be one of the nicest areas that people come to. When they come in to buy a ticket, they're guests. It needs to look nice. It can't be all cluttered and full of stuff. Well, we took that to heart. We couldn't get it done during season, but we have gotten it done now. And so, if you look at the picture in the top left, that's actually Lori Fanicel's office, completely uncluttered. We have ordered a couple of customer chairs to go on the other side of the desk, but it's very nicely laid out, lots of room in there, pictures on the wall. And by the way, Lori keeps her door and her blinds open all the time that she's there. So you'll always know when she's there, and if there's somebody in her office, she hides nothing. That's something that we wanted to make sure was part of it. The top right hand, that's the general activities office, where you go to register for an event or get information about something. And it doesn't have 10 desks in it anymore. It's got 2 desks, and we will have those desks manned every day, but it's a much more open and inviting environment. We've got pictures up on the walls that were painted by one of our residents that is just incredible. In fact, in the latter half of the summer, she's committed to actually do a hand-painted mural on one of the walls in the activity center. I just think it'll be incredible, so make sure you look for that. And the picture down on the bottom, that's where there used to be 2 desks, and now there's a credenza, there's a board where we post the events that are coming up. It's not about how many people we can cram into that room. It's about making it usable. And it goes even further than that. If you go out into the activities lobby, you'll find that Lori and the activities team have kind of reconfigured how the chairs go. We wanted things to be more conversational. So now couches face each other so that you can sit and have a conversation with somebody, and chairs are in circles, and we have a new desk out there for our information desk, and it's not a guard set up at the door. Actually, the information desk is over by the hallway that goes down to the billiards room. So there's no intent whatsoever of putting a Gestapo outside the door to make sure you can't get in. And just the opposite. We want to make it inviting. They've done a lot of work around decorating the window displays and things like that. I think you'll be very impressed. It's a completely different feel, and our goal is to make it very inviting. So look for that when you get back as well. Another one of our summer projects was signs. As I went around the property, there were signs that were dirty, there were signs that were peeling, there were signs that made no sense. It was time to get some sign work done. You'll see that in a lot of the buildings there are new signs, probably say the same thing that they did before, but they're new signs on the doors, because we went through and painted every door in the property, by the way, and then we put these new signs up on them so that the doorways are more inviting, and you understand what each door is. You'll notice kind of in the center there is a main office, and you may be saying, what is the main office? Well, somewhere along the line it had gotten to where the office here at the front gate was called the RV office. Well, come on. We're only about 50% RVs, and truthfully, we have more people year-round that are in homes than are in RVs. So why would we call that the RV office? So we've changed that. We've made that the main office, because we think that better describes what it actually is. And The signs in the park that point to it have been changed, as well as the sign on the building has changed to say main office. We added a sign over by the RC track. A lot of people put a lot of work into getting that RC track up and running, and I heard stories that people didn't even know where it was. So not only is it there, we've now added it to the new iteration of the park map. So it should be very identifiable. And one that I want to specifically talk about is down on the bottom half there. You'll see our new open carry of handguns prohibited sign, and that's the Texas legal sign. If you're not aware, as of January 1st, it became legal if you had a permit to carry a handgun that you could carry it open. It didn't have to be concealed. So a concealed carry permit automatically became an open carry permit. Well, we didn't really feel like people walking around the resort with guns visible was the right message that we wanted to send. We socialized this with corporate to make sure that we were doing the right things, and we explained to them what we needed, what we wanted, how we felt about it, and we took feedback from a number of residents as well. And bottom line is, we made the decision to prohibit the open carry of handguns. Now, we all know that there are people in the park who have concealed carry permits. We're not addressing those. We're not telling you that you can't do that. That's been there, and as long as we don't see it, it's not intimidating. But you cannot do open carry in the resort. So I wanted to bring that up and make sure that everybody was aware. And this is legal, by the way. This about 35 to 40% of the businesses in the state of Texas have taken this approach, and this is what the Texas legislature said had to be posted in order to make that legal. So it is an absolutely legal thing. No open carry in the resort. And there's some other summer projects. Some of these I've talked about a little bit because of the delay in getting this out to you, but shuffleboard courts. The 6th of June, we'll be tearing up the shuffleboard courts. Now, we're not replacing them end to end. We're doing official crack repair. And by crack repair, it's not filling the cracks. It's actually doing saw cuts to cut out the concrete that has the cracks. And then rebar, metal rods are inserted in the remaining areas of concrete, and then the new concrete is poured in that gap. And that rebar, those metal rods in the side, are put in there to keep it from shifting. And then it gets resurfaced over the top. Now, I just want to warn you that we are not resurfacing the entire set of shuffleboard courts. They will resurface the repairs and blend it into the existing. This was completely unexpected having this. There was no budget for doing this. We found the money to get the repairs done, but we could not afford the additional money for complete resurfacing. That will come over the next couple of years. We'll put in to get them resurfaced, and our driver this year was to get them playable again. And so all of those will be fixed. Large laundry, I already mentioned, it's now done. Pool area speakers, that'll start. I think I described that project. That should start sometime this week. We're getting the entrance gate replaced here at the main entrance. You may never have even noticed because most of the time it's open, but it was pretty damaged in the storm of April 2015, and we're finally at a point where we can get it replaced. So we're having a brand new gate created from scratch. It'll look just like this one, except it won't have all the patches and cross pieces on it that we've had to put on this to keep it going. So we're looking forward to that. We put in new doggy stations, and doggy station is the pole that has a trash can for doggy waste on the bottom, and it has a dispenser for doggy bags on the top. And let me just plead, I hope this is not residents that do this. I would like to think that it's the occasional guest, short-term guests or something, but we can't keep our doggy stations full of bags. People take them by the handfuls or literally pull entire rolls out. We do our best to keep these things full, and we want to keep them full for you. If you see somebody that's grabbing handfuls of them, ask them to please not do that. That's what we do when we see them. And in my experience, it's always been some temporary resident or guest that has come in here, and I guess they feel like it's a free place to grab doggy bags. Well, we're doing our best to keep them full. Let's just use them as we need them, and you'll never have to carry them with you. Pool baths. That's another one. And, we worked through a lot of things last year. We put new fixtures in them, and it took us about half a year to get the fixtures adjusted to where they work. I think we now have one push button runs a little over 5 minutes. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. But they're still tacky. We did paint them last season, but all we did was a quick coat of white over them, which was the color that they originally were. This season we're going to get in there and we're going to do them with that color palette that we're using in the other things, but we're taking it a step further. We're contracting to get the tile in the showers and the shower floors replaced as well, and we'll do it in kind of neutral colors, so it's not going to be pink and blue, but we think it will be very tasteful. It will blend well with the granite countertops that are already in there, and we think it will do an enormous uplift to those to make them better. We will not be replacing the floor tiles in the main area, but we have been working on those to get that excess grout off of them and get those dressed up. We're also going to frame the mirrors. You've probably seen that the mirrors were peeling on the back around the edges, and it just looked tacky. Well, we're going to build custom frames to go around those and trim them out, and check out the baths when you get back. We think they'll be pretty sharp. Ballroom floor, I've mentioned that, but maybe I haven't given you a lot of detail. The real nitty gritty of it is it's going to take a month to do. We have blocked out the entire month of August. There'll be no events taking place in there, and the flooring material is maple plank. And to give you an idea of what that looks like, if you've been watching NBA finals, or you've been to a gymnasium, or any place where they dribble basketballs, that's what the floor is made out of. Now, obviously, you can stain it any color you want, and we probably won't go with a real light stain. We'll go with something more medium, but that's the type of floor. It will be long planks, and it will be that exact same maple flooring that you see in every NBA stadium. Incredibly durable, very flexible, great for dancing. We think it'll be a really, really strong update. And along those lines, there's a few other things that we're doing as well. So you probably heard me say at my last spring meeting that we're moving darts up to the ballroom. And the way we're going to do that would be very similar to the way Beanbag works. We're building some carts that are going to hold the dartboards, and on Wednesday evenings, I believe that's when darts play, they will roll those carts out, and there'll be these hidden little hooks on the wall in the carpeted areas, and they'll hang the boards up there. And when they're through, they'll take those boards down back onto the cart and roll it back behind the stage, just exactly the way Beanbag does now. The cool thing is, no longer will the dart teams be cramped into that little bitty bingo room downstairs, and a couple of other rooms where you can't even see half the people that are playing. Everybody will be able to get into the ballroom, and I think truthfully that darts is going to grow by leaps and bounds, because more people will see it, and more people want to get involved, and I think it will be a very, very positive step. Now, it's going to continue to be played in the bingo hall in the summertime because the numbers are much smaller, and it makes more sense to do it that way. But in the wintertime, that's where you're going to be. We're also looking at ways of potentially doing that with bingo, because we think we could do a whole lot better with bingo if we had it in a better place. One of the things that we're doing right now, as a matter of fact, is we've got curtains that go across the back of the stage. And so literally we could move the bingo equipment up there, and when the curtains closed, you wouldn't even know it was there. These are black velvet curtains. We think it'll upgrade the looks of our stage, and it actually hides things like that door at the back of the stage. So when you've got an entertainer that's doing costume changes, they would go between the drapes there, the curtains, and they could go down in the back, and you won't see the light when they open the doors and all of that. Get changed and come back and make their appearance through the curtain. Much more the way it should be, and I think that will be pretty cool as well. We've been working on the parachutes on the ceiling, working on getting them cleaned. I mentioned that we're fixing the lights and the disco balls. We're also taking down the curtains, the parachute on the ceiling, so that we can replace all of the light bulbs under it. One of the things that really bothers me is when you have multiple instances of a common thing, in this case the fluorescent lights that are in the ceiling of the ballroom, but they have different color bulbs in them. There's bright white and soft white and cool white and all of this, and nobody was managing the fact that these different colors exist, and so every light had kind of a little different shade than the other one. So we're getting them back to being all one, and we'll use those leftover bulbs at other places, the office buildings and things like that. But our goal is to get back to being the best that Victoria Palms has ever been, and I hope you can see that that's where we're headed. Now I want to give you a little kind of a real quick overview of what the resort looks like in the summer. I know many of you have never been here in the summer, and I tell you what, it's absolutely gorgeous. The grass is green, the trees are all full and leaved out, and the flowers are everywhere. I just took 30 minutes and ran around the park and snapped some photos of various things, flowers, areas, things like that, just to show you how beautiful this place is. Some of our best reviews come from people that come and stay in the summer because it's just absolutely gorgeous. The ones you see here on this first slide, they're at the pool. Our landscape committee has done such a job with the feeding and the nurturing of these plants to get them back to being what they should be, and being as beautiful as they are. They really are gorgeous. Again, the one in the top is another one of the plants at the pool. Off on the other side, it's just a green space area, but it's so pretty. It's just so inviting, and the grass is all thick and green, and it's really wonderful. It didn't take much effort on my part to go around and find flowers. They're everywhere. Everybody's yard is full of flowers, and everywhere that there's a green lump in the wintertime, it blooms into beautiful flowers in so many different colors and so many different types, and it's amazing to walk around the resort right now. These were some that I thought were very unique. I'm certainly not anyone to ask about what type they are or anything else, but just about anything that you can imagine you can find here, and everything has flowers. Even our cactus are in full bloom at the moment. This is shot up by the front. On the left hand side, you'll see the flowers or the bushes that surround the main office, and they were so pitiful in the past. They had very few leaves on them. They were very sticky. I didn't even know they flowered, and they are just covered with flowers now. And a lot of that is because of the care and nurturing that the landscape committee did for them. I'm hoping that even more people join up on the landscape committee, and so that it's less work for everybody, but it'll be even more beautiful. And we've budgeted additional money to do, more plantings and flowers and shrubs. And on the right hand side, you'll see those shrubs, hedges, whatever they're called, that are out by the entrance. And in the wintertime they're pretty plain Jane, but even those are full of flowers in the summertime. This is absolutely a beautiful time to be at Victoria Palms. Now I wanted to just take you back a little bit. I assume that most of you probably were at the tailgate party, the last big event of the season, although I know some weren't. So if you were here, I kind of looked at that as not so much the end of winter as the beginning of summer. So I have some very short video clips here on this slide that I'm going to play for you, and I hope they play through okay, but just help you remember how much fun we have here at Victoria Palms. Of course, that was the massive line dance, something that I personally can't do, but obviously there's a lot of people that can, and can very well. And this was, I guess you could best call it freestyle. People, just getting out there and having fun. It was a lot of fun. And this next one is something that has to go in the record books. I haven't been here but a couple of years, but I think it's a record for an RV resort. This was the biggest conga line that I think I've ever seen. And so if anybody asks you if they have fun or why do you go there in the wintertime, show them some of these clips and let them understand just how much fun we really do have here. This was the Mother's Day tea, and we had rave reviews on this. It was very elegant. Lori went out and found a bakery that made all of these custom pastries, and actually some of those were made by some people here in the resort, but the majority came from a very, very nice bakery. Everybody came in. The feedback I heard was wonderful. They had a great time. One of the things that you should notice on this is the tea service. You'll notice that that's pretty fancy, and if you look over at the other pictures, you'll see that there's pretty nice tea services on every table. Well, in fact, it turns out that Lori is a collector of tea services, and so she brought her personal items in and set them up on all the tables. Nothing got broken. Everybody was very good with everything, and it just gave it an ambiance that was wonderful. These tea services were just beautiful, and every table was a little bit different. You'll also notice up in the top left side there, you can see these colorful little kind of balls that are at each place setting. Lori and Sandy Combs got together and made these little flower bouquets that were at every place setting, and they were take-homes, so you absolutely took took it away with you, and they were just absolutely beautiful. A lot of effort went into this, and it's not the largest event, but I think the moms that attended felt very well appreciated by it. And by the way, everybody also got a beautiful red rose that went with that. And then, of course, you know that we bought a margarita machine very early this year. In January, I think we got it. And so, summer fun, margarita, it all seemed to make sense. We actually fired up the margarita machine. We had hired John Sager to come play. Now, in defense of John, he called us 2 days before the event, said he couldn't make it. He had a friend who had passed, and he had to go to the funeral. But he did send one of his friends, and we had an incredible time. We went through, I'm just taking a guess here, about 18 to 20 gallons of margaritas. For the first time, Lori went out to every one of our 10 South Texas Encore parks and personally invited people from the other parks. We had great participation from other parks. I think everybody had a good time, and you can kind of tell that by the pictures that I'm showing that are kind of masked a little bit. I didn't want to just throw anybody out there, but everybody had a great time. We sang, we danced, we had margaritas. A lot of people were in the pool. It was a fun time for all. We even went so far as having a little fun with our team. I think it's incredibly important. These guys work hard. These guys and gals work hard. And I wanted to make sure that they felt appreciated. And so we've always, in the summertime, done a monthly birthday party. But we wanted to do something a little bit more. So this time we did a barbecue and potluck. We invited each employee to bring in a favorite dish, and oh my goodness, you just can't imagine the food that we had. Some of it authentic Mexican cuisine, others that were just amazing. Just everything that you could imagine. Nobody held back. And so it started off with all of the food. Well, we also wanted to do a little team building as part of that. And so I've got a couple of examples here of some of the things we did to get people going. And I want you to notice what's important here. And that is that these employees, these guys that you see out there working hard, the girls that are, doing their jobs every day, even Jody's in there, they're laughing, they're having fun, they're egging each other on, and I think we did a lot here to actually build some camaraderie. So let's see what these look like.
On your marks. Get set.
One hand.
Go.
So now the purpose of this video, and again, I hope these videos play through okay on YouTube, but the purpose of this video, of this contest, was you had to hold one hand behind your back, take a box of Kleenex, and with one hand, taking the Kleenex out one at a time, take out all of the Kleenex. And the first one with an empty box wins. Now, as you can see, it was like a blizzard of Kleenex flying around. And
all right,
there's our winner.
There it is. Congratulations.
She cheated. You cheated.
So I think, they had a lot of fun, and they all helped us clean up. Another event we did was where you have to take a red Solo cup and put it over your hand so you don't have fingers anymore. You just have these cups. And you have to take 6 normal-sized dice and stack them vertically, one on top of the other. And if you don't think that's hard, you should try it sometime. And as you can see, people were working really hard on this. We only had enough dice to do 4 at a time, but we took the winner out of each, and then we had a runoff with the 4 winners. And it was really, really incredible watching this go. The laughter that you hear is because somebody was just about to win and somebody else bumped the table and all of their dice fell down. So I don't know if I'm going to say that was an accident, but at least people were having fun. They were laughing, they were enjoying it, they were rooting for each other. You know, I think it was a very successful. This was our Memorial Day party. So this actually was our first iteration of pulling together a lot of volunteers to do things, and there was a lot that went on at this party. Up in the top left you'll see a video that I found on YouTube actually that was just incredible. If you go to YouTube and search on Memorial Day, there's a 15-minute video out there that if you can get through it without crying, I will just be surprised. I watched the video 3 times, and even at the event I was bawling like a baby, and gee, I probably shouldn't admit that, but it was very, very heartfelt. Down in the middle you'll see Leslie. We were supposed to be doing a pool party with Leslie, and there was some threatening of storms, and so rather than get out there and get stuck and have the storm come up, we decided to just do it in the ballroom. Started out kind of docile, a lot of people just listening to music, and in the end the whole place was dancing, including another conga line that wrapped itself all over the ballroom. So that was very, very interesting as well. Okay, so now you've seen a little bit about what it looks like and some of the things that we're doing, and we have more. We have a big Independence Day celebration. We're doing a luau for Labor Day. We're doing a big dance and Halloween party. We try to do something every month, so you know, we want to support those that are here year round, and we hope that they're enjoying themselves and having a good time. So let me move on to the activities updates, and this is real short. Here's the key. We still have concert tickets available. We have Redhead Express tickets and New Year's Eve tickets still available, but we have not gone public yet. And I'll use Redhead Express as an example. Very, very well known amongst Winter Texans, and one of the fastest events in South Texas to sell out. We're under an agreement with the management team of Redhead Express that we will do a full page ad starting in October, and I can almost guarantee you that when that ad hits the newspaper, the tickets will sell out that day. So if you have an interest, if you haven't seen them, they're an incredible family. They're talented. I mean, it's not karaoke. These guys can play every instrument you can imagine, and they all sing, and they're just fun. I don't know if the boys will be coming. They actually have brothers. There's some redhead brothers, and they're pretty incredible. They have I believe he's 7 years old that can play the fiddle like you can't believe. And even Dad gets up there and sings. So very, very cool. Our concerts, we've got an incredible run of concerts set up, and you know, there's still good seats available. And remember that most of the resorts in South Texas don't get concerts this year, and what that means is all of those people from our other resorts have to come to Victoria Palms to see the concerts. So expect that we will sell out on our concert tickets as well. And New Year's Eve, you know, last year I think was a pretty solid success, and I can absolutely guarantee you that this year will be better. We've got Pelican West coming in as a band. There's no opening act. We don't have a magician or anything like that. We will have the photo booth back. We've contracted with Victoria Palms Catering, and they're going to do both hot and cold hors d'oeuvres. We'll have snacks on all of the tables. We'll have party favors. It's going to be a fun time. So if your vision of New Year's Eve is going to a big party with great live music and dancing the night away, get your tickets. This is going to be the one to be. And once we announce it to the outside, I think it too will sell out. So, in closing, I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen to this. I hope it wasn't too long. I do tend to talk too much. I understand that. And if that's your feedback, let me know. Tell me to slow it down a little bit or speed it up or whatever the case may be. Send your questions, your comments, your feedback to my email address, and that's victoriapalms_MGR. So like Victoria Palms Manager at equitylifestyle.com. I will do my best to answer all of them, and if there's questions or comments that come in that I think are pertinent to the rest of the audience, I'll bring them to the next meeting. So with that, I want to say thank you. I want you to stay safe, have an incredible summer, and hurry on back down here because we miss you. Take care.